This is VSiN, the sports betting network. This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Big day. We're kicking off week 15 in the NFL later on this evening. Obviously, a lot of news in college football with everything going on with Sherrone Moore in Michigan. Plus, the college football playoff is upon us as we welcome you into this Thursday edition of Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Stormy, Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you live as always from downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. What's up?
Shh. I am watching Carson Schlesinger is at the podium right now, and I would like to watch exactly. That reference is a deep cut for nobody because that happened behind the scenes.
So before we got on air today, our wonderful producer, Justin Emery, was showing me some of the sound bites that we might play throughout the course of the show. And right as Justin came in here and is trying to play the sound bite, being a responsible producer and adult in the room, JVT just starts talking, starts yapping. I said, shh, shh.
Yeah, you shushed.
Zip it. Would that have been better?
I wasn't exactly
Shut
just
your
like
pie hole, bro.
You know, the sky is great today. Like, I was actually talking about.
I do apologize. Like, it's not nice to shush people, but like, you knew we were trying to do something, and then you started talking about nothing. You don't even remember what you were going to talk to me about, do you?
I just want our audience to know the persona that she puts forward in front of the camera is not exactly what the Stormy that I know is really like behind the scenes.
You told me you liked me better behind the scenes.
Yeah, but like I'm just going to say, you're a little bit meaner than the personality that you put out there.
I don't know.
I've seen your
meaner. I wouldn't say that that's particularly fair.
A little bit more intense.
Just speak my mind a little bit more. On that note, we'll be speaking our mind about a lot of different topics today as we go. Let's real quickly set the table for everything that's to come. We got a jam-packed 2 hours ahead.
It's time for the top headlines and topics of the day. This is The Rundown.
So a little bit later on in the program, we're going to get into some NBA action. Yes, there are games today, but we also have the NBA Cup semifinals officially set with last night's results in the book. How about that win for the OKC Thunder last night? 138-89, and the Spurs handle business, winning outright as a 7.5-point dog against the Lakers.
I saw I think it was a meme of some sort posted yesterday, and it was just a screenshot of the final score bug. And the whole point was somebody's got to call Adam Silver and do something about this. This is getting ridiculous. This team's not healthy. They are continuing to just bludgeon every single opponent that's in front of them. There's a whole bunch of unique and fun markets up right now. But at this point, I was on Hardwood Handicappers today. I'm on every Thursday. Check it out wherever you get your podcast with Zach Cohen. And I made the statement, why aren't the odds-on favorites at this point right now to win the NBA title?
They're crazy.
I mean, you can make the argument, right? I mean, what's going to stop him at this point?
Lost one game all season to this point. We will look at some of those markets that you mentioned, though, on Hardwood Handicappers and play a little bit of a clip from your boy Zach Cohen as well.
And by the way, we should also point out that game was a third game in 4 nights, second leg of a back-to-back of the Pacific Northwest against the Portland Trailblazers, which they were up by like 20 points. May or may not have sent a group text, chat, whatever, that night and said, you might want to bet the Portland Trailblazers in game here tonight. Think about that. They've been so untouchable, and the one loss they had was a brutal spot, and they were still up by 20.
And you know what just popped into my head, ladies and gentlemen? The clip that Justin was going to play for me that I shushed JVT about was the one from Zach Cohen that we're going to play a little bit later. And you didn't care because you were there. You heard it live.
Yeah.
But I hadn't heard it yet. Some people, the attitude on this one to my left.
Was I was there. I don't need to hear it.
We also, like I mentioned, have a lot of NFL news and notes that we're going to get into, especially as it pertains to injury reports going into Week 15. But as we do every week on a Thursday as well, looking at the Circa Million contest lines as they have officially come out, we have to try to make our 5 against the spread picks like we do each and every week. And I think it's just good conversation for where lines are at right now and where the book at least thinks they're going to go by Sunday.
3-2 last week in the first week of the quarter. It's a longer quarter, though.
5-0 week ahead.
That's right. That's all we got to do. I don't know how we can't get one together.
It's crazy. We talk about this all the time, but the fact that our NFL records, especially our combined records, are as good as they are this season, and for us to be so bad in the contest is real disappointment.
I don't understand it either, but you know what? We persevere, and I feel like this quarter will be ours.
And we mentioned the action kicking off tonight in I don't want to say an exciting Thursday night game, because that would be a lie. But as we put in the title here, can Tampa buck the trend? Tonight on Thursday Night Football, big game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in terms of the NFC South, and it hasn't gone well lately. The Bucs enter tonight on a 5-game no-cover streak. They've dropped 4 of their last 5 games straight up. They're also 1-5 against the spread at home this season and have struggled in primetime. I brought this up to you last time the Bucs were in a primetime spot. Since Baker Mayfield took over as starting quarterback, 1-8 straight up in the primetime spot. So tonight, again, hosting the Atlanta Falcons in this one, Bucs were as high as 6 on the look ahead here. We're sitting 4.5 most of the week, and now we're seeing that number tick up to 5. Total 44.5 here.
I'm just glad you italicized Buck, because I totally wouldn't have gotten the pun.
I wasn't sure if I should put it in italics or in quotes.
I'll put in the pun as you just let it ride.
I didn't know.
Look,
listen, I'm not very punny. I had to work on that one.
It's all about Baker Mayfield here tonight, I think.
Yeah.
Look, your receivers are healthy. We'll hear from the Grizz about this when you look at their offense coordinator. When you look at the now healthy wide receiver room and what this is going to look like for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But if you go back to about week 6, and I know you've got some numbers that tie back to it, Baker Mayfield has not been the same guy since. And that dates back to, as we made reference to yesterday, one of the better games of the season. They went out to Seattle. They got a big win and a shootout against one of the best defenses in the NFL. His team looked untouchable. Looked like they were going to be. He was going to be an MVP.
Yep.
And Mike Ibuka was on his way to winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now it looks like neither are going to sniff that award. I understand why we're where we're at, 5.5, total 43.5. Everybody's healthy, available. This is the healthiest this team's been. It's the healthiest wide receiver room he's had in a long time. I find myself hesitant to run to lay 5.5 here with the Buccaneers tonight.
So you mentioned how Baker has changed. I think one of the most notable areas that we haven't seen the same guys, the downfield passing game. Mayfield has completed 2 of 17 passes, at least 20 yards downfield since week 7. And when did Mike Evans go down? Week 7 against the Detroit Lions. And so he still is, worth noting, officially questionable, was activated yesterday, though, and the expectation is that he is going to be back in this spot. Todd Bowles telling reporters yesterday he has shown everything that they need to see for him to get back out there. He also spoke to the readiness of young wideout Jalen McMillan, who's yet to play all season. He had 3 vertebrae in his neck that were broken during the preseason. He's also activated and expected to play there. But let's hear from what'd you call him? The Grizz?
Yeah.
Josh Grizzard on what Mike Evans does for him as a play caller and this offense as a whole.
When he's out there, we know that from the defensive coordinator's perspective, that him being on the field deserves attention. So within the game, how are they playing that to, do they shift the coverage there? It could be a double in man coverage, or they could have the safety over the top, which ultimately creates a softer coverage away from it. So without having had any full speed practices this week, we'll see how he progresses in terms of his chance at playing on Thursday. But once he's out there, we know that he deserves all 11 attention on the field, to include the D coordinator. So it's always great to have Mike.
We now know since, obviously, that he is going to play, that he is active. I think the question is just that, how much attention he demands from the Falcons defense today. And also, will there be a snap count? I mean, will there be a limitation, a pitch count, I should say, on what he is going to do, how many snaps he's going to play? I know that maybe because Baker Mayfield has a tendency to do this, we've seen this from Mike Ibuka, where his reception rate has gone down, but his targets kind of remain steady because he just gets spammed these targets from Mayfield. And we know what Mayfield likes to do. Yeah. You do wonder if there is going to be a snap count here for Evans as he makes his way back. And I thought the important note there from Grizzard is, we're talking about, Grizzard, as we're talking about this week, there's not a lot of live practice, right? This is just getting guys ready on a short week to get going. And so you don't really know what the limitations are going to be for once he gets out there to full action.
From a prop standpoint, and we'll do a deep dive on the prop market on this game a little bit later on in the program, but 39.5, the receiving yards, 3.5, your receptions number. The over is plus 112 on that. It's juiced to the under, minus 143, longest reception. And we just gave you those numbers about how the downfield pass game has changed. Maybe we do see Mike Evans get one of those long plays here today. It's sitting right on that 19.5-yard mark. Anytime touchdown, plus 165, first touchdown, plus 950. The Emeka Ibuka element of it, you talk about the rookie of the year caliber start that he had to the season, has not had the same production since, averaging just 45 yards per game the last 8, despite the uptick in targets. His NFL low catch percentage since week 6 has been criticized mainly for drops recently. And here is the Grizz again when asked about Ibuka and his confidence.
I don't even think it's really confidence. He's a very confident guy. I think that what we've asked him to do in terms of a rookie, that it gets taken for granted a lot, even from the coaching staff. And it's not easy to do what he's done on playing all three positions. He's a guy that came in here from day one and has prepared the right way. He's played all three spots. He's won games for us. So we have all the confidence in the world in him. Again, we're going to try to get it to him early, often, with the game on the line, which he's proven he can do. No one's more upset with him than himself. And that's why he's the ultimate competitor and a great leader, is because he doesn't want to have that happen. But from our end of it, we'll keep getting to him. He'll make some plays and expect a big game out of this Thursday night.
Early and often, you targeting first quarter receiving yards?
Expected to have a big game early and often. Is that coach speak, or are we actually going to look at Emeka Egbuka to actually have a night tonight?
51.5 the receiving yards prop. First quarter over 10.5. 3.5 the receptions. That is juiced fairly high at around a minus 160 price, but something to keep tabs on, I guess, worth noting. Also, of course, from the Atlanta Falcons side of this thing, still no Drake London for the fourth week in a row, dealing with the PCL injury to his left knee. And with that, I wonder what that might open up for other people. And again, we're going to have a really deep dive on the prop market on this one. Kyle Pitts is technically questionable today, but the expectation from all the insiders is that he's going to go. He is the person that I feel like, Darnell Mooney hasn't elevated. Nobody's really elevated. Right. I feel like Pitts has been the target.
Tired of asking about Kyle Pitts. We keep waiting for it.
Even if the yards aren't there, will the receptions be?
Can I ask you this? This ties into it. 42 of 58, 509 passing yards, and 4 touchdowns. Is that a pretty good stat line? Is that yeah?
No.
What are you talking about? 40? I don't think you heard me. 42 of 58, 509 passing yards, and 4 touchdowns. It's what Kirk Cousins did to the Bucs last year. This is over. Come on.
We'll be right back. We got plenty more to discuss on this and more. Don't go anywhere. More money moves after this.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back here on Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Lots of NFL news and notes to get into. Week 15 kicking off tonight with Thursday Night Football. And I do apologize again. I did not know I thought you were giving me Kyle Pitts stats that I just wasn't aware of at the end. I was blonde moment of the day for sure. We're already starting off hot.
The good thing is you're not lingering on it.
It's not in my head at all.
Yeah.
It's not in my head at all.
You're not letting it mess with you at all.
Totally moved on. That said, we do have a lot to get to from an injury standpoint, practice reports coming out, and we got some unexpected news today out of the Pittsburgh Steelers with star defensive linebacker for the Steelers, TJ Watt, who was taken to a local hospital for medical evaluation of his lung. Apparently, he experienced discomfort at the practice facility on Wednesday, and per the Steelers, he will not be at practice today, and his status for Monday night against Miami is in question. Coach Tomlin will provide more updates at an appropriate time. This coming from Burt Lawton, a Steelers spokesman. They have a lot of injuries that we'll get into in a moment, but for TJ Watt, who's such a critical piece of what they want to do, and a defense that has struggled as mightily as they have, this is massive.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, we're not really seeing anything in the market, right? I mean, you've seen a couple of places move the juice to the dog side, but for the most part, you're still sitting out there at 3.5 in favor of Pittsburgh against Miami. Look, it's a questionable at best. You still have until Monday. There's quite a few days, but I would expect some sort of an adjustment, especially if he can't go. Now, we're not there yet, but I'm somebody that was already kind of in the mindset of, Miami or pass. So to see this news, but to see the market kind of just go, we'll bump it 15 cents in the dog direction, I am somewhat surprised because that seems relatively serious. We will see if he's going to be available, but it's a big blow because if you can't cover and you don't have a pass rush to cover for the fact that you can't, now all of a sudden for an offense that is really starting to find its stride in Miami, tough place to be in here if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Absolutely. And a game that on both sides feels like it's critically important because Miami has had this surge the last handful of weeks. And I apologize to you and your, alternate win total that you played on the Dolphins.
I was so smart.
But with the Pittsburgh Steelers as well, they're now back in position where they're an odds-on number in the division and trying to see if they can pull ahead and create some separation between they and the Ravens. This is a short spread type game where you think maybe we can make a little bit of noise here and get in the win column again. That's not a great sign. And now you have, as you put in the rundown, some offensive line issues that continue to pile up over the last few weeks.
Yeah, that's going to be the big problem, too. And that's why, going back to whether or not they're going to adjust here, that's why I was kind of surprised that we haven't seen this adjustment. What Stormy's referencing, Calvin Anderson placed on IR. Dylan Cook had to be signed to the active roster and could start against the Ravens coming up here. So, like, this has been a very big deal. Excuse me, the Ravens. That was a typo on my end. Against the Dolphins. So, like, this is a pretty big deal here for the Pittsburgh Steelers as we move forward. Like, you're going to be having a tattered offensive line, potentially your best edge rusher not available. That is something that I think warrants some sort of move here on the line, and yet we're not really getting in that direction right now.
Let's look ahead to Packers and Broncos coming up this week. Josh Jacobs, the only player to miss practice yesterday for Green Bay. Matt LaFleur said on the podium this morning, likely missing that practice again today. Quote, he's been battling through it. We'll see. Adding, they'll also see where he's at on Friday, still dealing with that knee injury. He missed the Packers game. Week 12 game against the Vikings, has played each of the last 2 weeks and played well. 17 carries for 83 yards against Detroit, 20 carries, 86 yards and a score against the Bears. Practices those weeks, though, he was mostly limited. So this is a change with him not being available in this spot. So potential re-aggravation, which I think is a big deal for a Green Bay team playing a really tough defense in Denver.
I was thinking about this game this morning before we saw the news that he practiced, before I saw the news he would practice yesterday. You know, I'm kind of just out of the corner of my eye, maybe looking at Green Bay and thinking, you know, are they starting to figure things out? You know what I mean?
It feels like it a little bit.
Is this maybe a team that could, like, come out of from, like, not from behind, but, you know, for the last few weeks, we've talked a lot about the Rams and the Seahawks, and rightfully so. But all of a sudden, are we looking at Green Bay and going, you know, we'll bring the analogy back. Oh, she took her glasses off, huh? Let the hair down a little bit. We're back in here, baby. That's in reference to, like, was it Mina Kimes thing with the, what's the movie? She's All That. Where she's been hot the whole time, actually. You just got to get your stuff together. Green Bay might be getting their stuff together.
1-4 straight. They didn't let the Bears come back and complete the rally last week.
Yep.
It looks different, and like offensively, they've been starting to figure things out a little bit. If Josh Jacobs is unable to go, Emmanuel Wilson would be that primary back. We're sitting on them laying 2.5 in Denver. But also, what's your view of the Broncos at this point?
Right.
Because they have been firing on all cylinders.
Have they been firing on all cylinders?
In the win column?
In the win column, yeah. I mean, I saw, what was it? I think there was some sort of quarterback ranking for some sort of statistic that came out the other day. And our boy Bo Nix was like 24th among quarterbacks right now. And there was a lot of, like, you're not watching the games. Like, no, I think we are. Like, I think we know what this offense looks like right now. So I was going to look this up from our market ratings last week to get an idea of where we're at. Last week, we had about a 2-point difference on a neutral between the Packers and the Broncos. This would not be that. At 2.5 on the road for Green Bay. So Green Bay's obviously been upgraded here a little bit. The question becomes how much, and is it too much here to lay this? I feel like this defense is good enough, and Bo Nix, again, is, you know, below average to average enough that I think Green Bay can cover this kind of short number, even with the Broncos continuing to rip off wins left and right. But, you know, some of these victories, you know, coming off of a win against the Las Vegas Raiders, for example, not exactly things that you're going to write home about and be entirely proud of.
Won 10 straight games and a 2.5-point home dog. It is just still like an odd thing to look at on paper. No doubt about it.
It seems like I would think it's a really tempting teaser leg.
Always.
Right? I mean, the total's 42.5.
I was going to say a low total in general here, which my gut feeling does kind of lean toward the under in general, just knowing what both of these defenses are capable of and the offensive issues that are clearly there on both sides as well when you look at some of the underlying metrics. Yep. But yeah, I think this is a teaser leg that's going to end up on, on one, if not many.
The last 4 wins for this Broncos team: Raiders, Chiefs. Is that a good win anymore? Commanders.
Yes, come on.
Commanders and Raiders. And by the way, the Commanders, they had to turn away, right, on the 2-point conversion in overtime.
I mean, look how close all those games are.
Correct. I mean, that's kind of been this thing.
Yeah, 3-point game at Houston. The ugly Thursday night game against the Raiders that came down to a field goal as well. They barely beat the Chiefs 22-19. It's overtime at Washington.
I mean, zoom out one. It has been 5 of their 10 wins, their last 5, have come by. I mean, this has been the topic for them.
It's the theme.
Single scores. Going all the way back to the start of this winning streak. They blew out the Bengals 28-3, but the Eagles game was a 1-score game. They had to come back. Jets, we can go on and on. So I'd be curious, like, to this point, you bring up, hey, team on a 10-game winning streak, team that might be the 1 seed in the AFC, 11-2, underdog at home. this might be it. Like, this might be the test of, okay, you've beat up on these bad teams. You've gone on this winning streak. You got lucky in all these coin flips. What do you got for us here? And I don't think I'd be surprised if the Green Bay Packers come out with a win, and maybe that teaser leg is a little bit of a sweat.
I really like the idea of getting through 2 key numbers with the Broncos at home with that defense.
Yeah.
So,
it'll be a teaser leg
it would
for sure.
be, I think anything that you bet with the Broncos has been a sweat, so that wouldn't surprise me at all.
I feel like this is a same game teaser for you.
Yeah, you're speaking my language. We'll see when we get there on Friday when we finalize everything. But there's another quarterback that I want to get your opinion on. How would you feel if your quarterback made the comments that we're going to hear from Joe Burrow right now ahead of a game this weekend with the Ravens? But big picture, take a listen to Burrow on the podium yesterday.
Change the way that you view the game?
No, it certainly doesn't change my desire to win. If I want to keep doing this, I have to have fun doing it. I've been through a lot, and if it's not fun, then what am I doing it for?
So that doesn't exactly instill confidence in my mind for a 29-year-old quarterback to be questioning having fun in the league and if this is something he might want to continue doing.
Yeah. I mean, well, let's call this again. I called this yesterday when I was doing local radio. This is Andrew Luckian type comments. It is a guy who has suffered a lot of injuries over the course of his career, who has had a relatively competitive team, but have never really been able to reach those heights outside of maybe going to the Super Bowl one time because he has not been available due to all of these injuries. He's got an offensive line that has been subpar throughout the entirety of his career, a defense that has not helped him out in any way, shape, or form. Saw a lot of people going to the defense thing. I don't think that that's what the impetus of these comments would be, or his thoughts or his feelings here. At the end of the day, Joe Burrow's a dude who's taken a lot of damage in a really short time. And the comps and the ties to Andrew Luck have been there for a reason. And so I don't think that it is shocking to hear a guy that has gone through as much as he has, injury-wise, to then question whether or not he's happy doing this. If you read, I think it was Don Van Natta when, I think about a year ago, 2 years ago, he sat down with Andrew Luck and he had a really big feature on him, like post-career and what he's doing at Stanford and whatnot. And that was a big thing, was happiness, body. Am I happy? Am I healthy? Andrew Luck wasn't, and it doesn't sound like Joe Burrow is.
ACL, MCL, torn ligament in the wrist of his throwing hand, the turf toe. The list goes on and on what he's dealt with at this point. Oh, also, by the way, he has been sacked significantly more than Andrew Luck was, despite playing fewer games. And so it's a wild thing that we're looking at when you hear a star quarterback in the league and an MVP caliber guy talking like that. Reminder, everybody, if you haven't checked out Boomer Sportsbook, now's the time to bring you the action for football, hockey, hoops, and more. And you use our code VSIN250 when you sign up for a Boomer's mobile account. They'll match your first deposit up to $250 in bonus bets, plus minus 105 on all pro football spreads in the regular season. BetWithBoomer.com. Must be 21 and up.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSIN, the Sports Betting Network.
Couple quick updates for you as we welcome you back to Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. The Texans and Cardinals getting set to go head-to-head this weekend. Houston, 9.5-point home favorite against the struggling Arizona squad. Total 42.5, but some practice report updates coming through. Nick Chubb did not practice. Meanwhile, Woody Marks made his way back onto the practice field, and Marvin Harrison still dealing with that heel, not out there at practice either today.
Yeah, I'd argue Woody Marks generally more impactful here at this point. I mean, it's not like he's been the best guy in the world, only 3.5 yards per attempt on the ground, but he's shown some explosiveness at times when he can get out of the backfield. But I just think the Texans need all hands on deck offensively. I keep pounding the table. I know we're really gaga over this team. This offense still stinks, dude. And so I think you need as much help as you can get as you move forward. Same can be said, though, for Marvin Harrison, if he can make it back, just considering how good this Texans defense is.
On a 5-game win streak right now, but in the last 4 have not eclipsed 23 points offensively. So,
dude, I'm telling you, man.
You're not wrong when it comes to that side of things. But, like, big picture, though, in terms of the Houston Texans being a contender, do you think, like, can they not get there on their defense? Can them being as reliant as they are on that side of the ball get them where they want to go?
I just think there's an expiration date, don't you? I mean, at some point in today's day and age in the NFL, you have to be able to score.
Okay.
And I just feel like same thing with Denver. I think it's a reason why we don't really buy into Denver that much either. It's that there is, for us, a lot of us, we focus on the quarterback, and C.J. Stroud has more respect. So I think that there is this thought that Houston is better than they really are on offense because we know the name C.J. Stroud. We remember the rookie year. When the reality, this team is 26th in yards per play, that if you look over the course of these 3 games that we're talking, or this winning streak that we're talking about yards per play mark that's floating around 4.7. So I think that you can win some games. And I think that having that defense will keep you in almost every single game. But I do think at some point you're going to have to score. I mean, clearly, you got to at least get 3. If you shut somebody out, you got to at least get 3 or 2. And I just feel like that has an expiration date. But you might not see it. Look at this. Cardinals, Raiders, Chargers, Colts. You might not see it till the end of the year. This team could win out, which is going to be ridiculous, but that might just be the case. And all of a sudden, you're looking at a 12-win team that started 0-3. The antithesis of what the Colts were.
Have you seen the movie Zombieland?
Yes, long time ago, but yes.
So
it was a very good movie.
Instantly, what I thought of when you said they have an expiration date is Woody Harrelson when he's talking about Twinkies and he's on the search for Twinkies. Yeah. And they go, well, shouldn't they be expired days? Or do they never expire? And he goes, they do have an expiration date, believe it or not. And one day, that meter's going to go gone. Yeah. And that's how I feel about what you said with the Texans, is that at some point that meter's going to run out. And I think you're dead on with that. They are, by the way, the 4th shot in the AFC this year, plus 550. The Patriots, your favorite, co-favorite, that is, with Denver at plus 370. Buffalo Bills not far behind there as well. Let's get into a little bit of college football, because the news that has rocked the college football world over the last 24 hours has without a doubt been the official firing of Michigan head coach Sherrone Moore. Came through yesterday in what the university termed finding credible evidence that Moore had an inappropriate relationship with the staff member, so being fired for cause here. Later on in the day, we then also learned that Moore was detained by authorities for an alleged assault that took place in the home of an unnamed Michigan employee. And there are a lot of unconfirmed reports that we can get into some of that as well, because they are at least coming from reliable sources and journalists, just not officially from the police. But as of right now, Sherrone Moore still detained.
I mean, so what does Michigan do from here? That is, I think, the question, right? I mean, you're so late in this cycle. I know Kalen DeBoer was the first name that was thrown out there.
That's like the golden goose name that has been thrown around more than any other I've seen.
You're rooting, if you're Michigan, you're obviously rooting for Oklahoma this weekend. Or no, next weekend, excuse me. Yeah. Because you need them to lose so that we can get this going and you can go and get your guy. And I think that would probably be what we're all banking on at this point right now. You can call everybody else. And Michigan is one of those rare programs. You get fans of Ole Miss that'll be like, why don't you call Kalen DeBoer? Like, sorry, he's not answering. They're not picking up. Michigan can call anybody they want outside of Ryan Day. And I would put Dan Lanning in that category as well because of just the program and the backing of the money, that anybody on the list is going to be at least interested and pick up the phone.
But it's funny how you keep hearing names that are people that currently have jobs, and has the ink dried on the extension yet? Right. Because
or the new contract,
Matt Campbell, how comfortable are you at Penn State, or whatever it may be? But
Lane Kiffin,
that's another one. I've heard that name be cycled through. Also, a lot of now NFL names like Joe Brady continues to be brought up. Jesse Minter is another name, and there's a lot of them that are going through. When you look at some of the offshore odds, Jed Fish over at Washington, plus 450, Kalen DeBoer around the same price, Minter 5-1, Marcus Freeman, who we just heard athletic director Pete Bavacqua talking about how we want to make sure Marcus Freeman feels as loved and as comfortable as humanly possible here. When you look at some of the call sheet predictive market stuff, DeBoer with 41% of the money that has been put into that portion of the market, followed by Fish. Kenny Dillingham, a name I know you texted me about. Yeah. John Gruden, another name being thrown in there. So that's Gruden, a bit absurd.
John Gruden is being maybe considered for UConn. I don't think that he's going to leap up to Michigan. It's one of the more ridiculous names that is being thrown out there right now. Also, really quickly, look, I understand. John Gruden, it's incredible what some time out of the spotlight will do. He's like, when was the last time he had a good season as a head coach? We're acting like this dude is, I don't even know what I even say it. We're acting like he's Andy Reid, like ripping off NFC Championship game appearances or AFC Championship game appearances, winning Super Bowls left and right. Well, congrats. You went from 4 wins to 8 in your years with the Raiders.
And when he was let go from the Raiders, too, and Rich Bisaccia took over to complete that season, they got better.
Yeah.
Review.
No, Stormy, they were 3-2 in the 5 games. Relax. But I would say I think DeBoer's probably it. I do wonder some of those prediction markets. I believe I saw one that had Antonio Brown as the favorite.
Yeah, what are you doing?
To be the next head coach of
That's what happens when you can put any name in there.
Yeah, the New York Giants or whatever it was. So I would think that we're banking on DeBoer. I'm more curious, what does this mean for a Michigan program that has those high aspirations from a bowl game perspective? You talk about motivation. Are they going to be there? I would assume the sleeveless Biff Poggi would be able to kind of get them in and ready to go. But the market did move on that too, right?
Yeah, so Poggi named the interim head coach for the time being, and he did lead the team for a couple of games when Sherrone Moore obviously had to serve the prior suspension for his role in the sign stealing, all of that. But we saw an immediate line move in the bowl game. They're in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, by the way, taking on Texas. It opened 4.5, and it was 5.5 last night. Immediately bet up to 7 in a handful of shops now.
That's got to be a worry that some kids are opting out, correct? After the firing? I'm sorry, but I didn't watch Michigan football these last couple of years and go, man, Sherrone Moore's got his fingers all over these buttons. This is going well.
This is a team that in general, I mean, they're not what we expected them to be, right? You have all of this hype and expectation for what it's going to be with Bryce Underwood and this young gun and how things are going to go. And it hasn't gone to plan. I think there were some rumblings about Sherrone Moore being fired to begin with from a non-accusational standpoint,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
And so, this would lead you to believe that. I mean, you made the comment earlier today, leader of men isn't something that screams out to you about him.
No, not really. Or just the guy who is the genius behind everything. I mean, I watch an uber conservative team that, kicks on 4th and 2s inside of a 30 and does all these sort of things. I don't buy that. Because I would assume, again, the assumption here in the line move is that some guys are jumping ship and leaving after this firing. But if I were to tell you now that is not the case, wouldn't you then say that this line move seems extreme?
Sure.
That's the whole case I'm making here right now.
I saw, speaking to his approach to game planning, I saw a tweet that said something along the lines of Sherrone Moore didn't take any risks on the field, but he's risking it all off the field, which is kind of crazy accurate, it seems like. And this is something, so just to mention, on our way out here, some of these unconfirmed reports, and again, these are unconfirmed, but what has largely been out there for a handful of journalists is that this is a relationship that was being investigated going back to last summer, but with both parties denying anything, said that, okay, and then they moved on from it. But that all changed yesterday when the staffer went to the higher-ups and said, here are text, emails, documents, and different things showing that this relationship did take place, giving them the opportunity for them to fire him with cause. And then later the day, the reports are that he broke into the staffer's house, had a knife, and threatened both the staffer and himself. So that is the way that this is all laying out right now. It's massive, massive news. From our standpoint, obviously, we're trying to talk about it from a betting perspective, but there's a lot going on here. You also wonder from a university standpoint, Ward Manuel, where does he sit in all of this? The questions of when did he know, how much did he know to make this decision now? We also talked on the sidebar from a National Signing Day perspective, did you actually know this? Is this information something that actually just came on your plate in this way yesterday? Or is there a tactical advantage to knowing that these players committed to you, and even with them having the availability to leave, other programs have already used their allotments for the players that they're going to take in the next recruiting class? They have the number 12 ranked recruiting class in the country. There's just so much to this. It's very fascinating.
The other one is, as a lot of coaches are seeing their phones ring, so is Bryce Underwood's.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of players' phones are ringing right now. So we have to take a quick time out here on Money Moves. When we come back, we've got a lot more college football to get to. We've got the NBA Cup to discuss, plenty of NFL throughout the course of the show. Keep it locked right here.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
You know what's happening next Friday? The college football playoffs kick off, and VSiN's got the guide you need to bet the postseason with confidence. Our CFP betting guide now out. Features full previews of every first-round game, CFP overview and insider breakdowns, best bets, custom brackets from our experts, Steve Makinen's power ratings, and bowl picks across the Vegas Stats and Information Network. You can buy the guide right now for $14.99, or, because you always have choices, upgrade to the VSiN Pro and get the guide included, plus full access to daily best bets, real-time betting splits, AI-powered prop tools, and 24/7 video on the VSiN Watch app. Get your guide now at vsin.com/CFP. That is VSIN.com/CFP.
Who did you have winning it all, by the way? Because we filled in just the bracket from the standpoint of who we thought was going to come out of each game. Do you remember who you picked to win it all?
Oh, I do.
Who you got?
James Madison
Stop
is
it right
not
now.
my selection to win it all. Georgia.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think looking at like the bench path, I will say I'm not trying to be, because you're going to bring this up, I'm not trying to, because I got a text from Adam Burke. It was not really angry, but it was one of those, I see you trying to start things in the spreadsheet. I was the only person to pick this result in the entire CFP. Do you know what it would be?
Did you pick JMU beating Oregon?
I did not.
Because I know no one picked that.
Yeah, I did not.
What would the other one be?
It would be Tulane beating Ole Miss.
Oh, okay.
Obviously,
that.
From a point spread perspective, it is the more
I don't think it's going to happen, but I like it.
And it is the more likely
Sure.
of the two big upsets. Obviously, the first round, the point spread is shorter, but you see a scenario in which Tulane, maybe a little bit better down the stretch, Ole Miss missing all of the key executive pieces, we'll call it, being a little bit more, what we'll call conservative with a different head coach, not the same offensive play caller with Lane gone. I don't think it's the craziest thing in the world that a juiced up Tulane team would go out there, not the bad juice, but there's like a greased up Tulane team goes out there and beats Ole Miss that has had all sorts of distractions hoisted upon them by their totally moral head coach, former head coach at that. So, no, I don't think it'd be crazy to say that they would be able to stay inside of that number and maybe even make them sweat and pull the upset.
So is that going to be one of your best bets then going into next weekend, is taking the 17.5 with Tulane?
Maybe. Or maybe I'm just going to sit back and wait and see if I can get more.
Okay. One team, I believe you were high on them as well. But I had Miami winning a couple games.
I had Miami winning one game and then losing in the next round to Ohio State, right? That would be the bracket. Yes, Ohio State. So you had them beating Ohio State? Really? I think that might be the only one too, right? I mean, how many people had a Miami
I think
win?
a few people actually had Miami moving forward.
Let's see. Okay, you're right. Let's see. Jensen Lewis, Will Hill, and Stormy Buonantony.
I'm taking a shot. There was a time that when we were talking about Miami earlier on in the season, it was, is this the best team in the country? Mm-hmm. And the way that they have performed down the stretch the last handful of games, it feels like they're getting more to that caliber. Yeah. They have been to use Marcus Freeman's term, they've been an improving team.
Yeah.
So I could see it happening.
What I'm surprised about, 3-4, I'm going to count this out really quickly.
And you got to take some shots in this too. It's reminiscent of when you do the March Madness bracket, right? Sure. You have to pick a couple things that are a little bit off.
You're going to be held to this, and we're going to make fun of you and mock you if your bracket.
I mean, and Ohio State is Exhibit A for a team that came out of the first round and had to work their way out to win a national championship. So why can't it be Miami making a push?
I mock it because, and I'll quickly pat my back from 2 years ago. I got a sarcastic tweet when we released our March Madness bracket, and I had Oakland beating Kentucky, and it was like, nice call. That's never going to happen. Which is like, yeah, dude, they were like, whatever, 14-point underdogs. Oh, and it did happen, by the way. But like the whole bracket thing, I am somewhat surprised. Ohio State was picked to win the national championship in our guide by 5 people. Georgia had more, but who do you think, which program had also 5 selections amongst our VSiN folks to win the national championship? Out of all the teams in this field.
Indiana?
Oregon.
Okay, I could see that.
I could see
I have
it,
Texas
but I'm
Tech.
Surprised.
I have Texas Tech beating them.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that there was that many folks who were like in.
No, there are a lot of people that are very adamant about the Dan Lanning
Oregon
experience.
Truthers?
And Oregon is legit national championship bound.
I think.
So not a lot of belief for Indiana. Anyone other than Wes Reynolds pick Indiana?
Let's see. Sorry, I'm laughing because I didn't notice the note that you could not pick. James,
I know it's silly. So it is. I know that it's a little bit silly, but because I am on the broadcast for JMU at Oregon for the first round, I'm not allowed to make a pick for it, which I know on the surface seems silly as a 21.5 point spread in this one. But I'm rooting for JMU.
2 people picked Indiana. to win the national championship.
We want a competitive game. Okay, two. So Wes Reynolds and who?
Wes Reynolds and the ever-loving underdog lover, Dave Tooley. Picked
Here for it. We're also at odds for one game, but we'll save that for a little bit later because we still have to develop how we want to vet that out. Last couple minutes here of the segment, I'd like to shift gears into a little NBA talk because we do have the semifinals for the NBA Cup officially set with the Magic and Knicks as well as the Spurs and OKC Thunder going head-to-head this coming Saturday from right here in Viva Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. Before we look forward, go back real quickly. How good is the OKC Thunder? What are we doing here? They look unreal.
Yeah, I don't know what we're supposed to do. So I thought, let me pull this up because there's a couple of markets here that I wanted to throw at you and get your thoughts on. We have reached the point now. I know we're only 20-something games in. And by the way, I cannot wait for OKC San Antonio coming up on the 13th because I might have to try to sneak out there potentially if I have an opportunity. But kids are fine if you leave them like at home with some food, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. I think the thing here is Victor Wembanyama's potentially coming back, so that's going to be something worth watching. But big picture for OKC, I think you can make the argument they should be odds-on favorite right now to win this thing.
They're plus 120 right now.
They're plus 120. For anybody screaming out there, they are. They're not. It's when you're laying a price. It's when your odds are over 50%. That is one
of my betting pet peeves.
Oh, when people say, right now they would consider them an odds-on favorite even if they're not?
Well, when a team is 3-1, but they're the shortest shot on the board, and they're like, so-and-so is an odds-on favorite. No, that's not how it works, but it's okay.
They're not all in the space. They're not all in the space.
All right.
Okay, be nice.
Yeah, but when you're on national television acting like you are.
Do you think that has stopped anybody before?
Fair.
I've seen a lot of people up there. All right, here's some markets for you. You ready? Keep in mind, current winning streak for the Oklahoma City Thunder is 16 right now. They won 16 straight.
And is it 24 of 25 as well? Is that how many?
I mean, yeah, what are they, like 21 and something? Whatever it is. Whatever their record is, yes, they've only lost one game. So, yeah, it's -1 of whatever.
Insane.
All right, so current winning streak, 16 games. Oklahoma City Thunder, for their current win streak to reach 29-plus games, they would break the Golden State Warriors record, plus 450. For Oklahoma City to reach 34 straight wins would be 12-1. For Oklahoma City to win 40 straight wins would be 22-1. And for them to reach 45 straight wins would be 80-1. Their winning streak, again, is at 16. I think you can make a case for the 12-1 play at 34-plus consecutive games won.
So they'd have to double up what they've done.
Yes. Now, keep in mind, this is part of the language, because this is how it works in the regular season as well. The NBA Cup final would not be counted towards the streak if they get to the NBA Cup final.
Oh, that's weak.
It's not, though. That's part of
it. I understand. But for this bet...
Well, because that's an 83rd game, technically.
So they could technically lose in the NBA Cup, and it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't count toward this.
Correct.
Interesting.
Yeah. See? So always read the language. So there's some other things. Will Hill's been on this. It's one of those things that I wish I had bet. Even since talking about this with Zach Cohen today on Hardwood Handicappers, we've seen it adjust. 74-plus wins. So for the record, plus 240 for OKC. For 75-plus wins, 4-1. These prices, think about this. These prices are ridiculous. 4-1 for a team to win 75 games. 76-plus regular season wins. Plus 640. 77, 11-1. And 78 is 20-1. You're definitely, I think I'll state it on record now, I think they're going to win 74 games. The question just becomes, because I think, as I've told Will before, when you get to a certain point, if you're these teams, when the record becomes possible, you start to go, we want it. Yeah, right. We're going to go get it. So you're going to have this weird part of the season where maybe they don't really care, but when it becomes tangible, they're going to shoot for it. So I think that's really going to help you out. The other part, though, is, and I don't know if you remember this 2 years ago, this is the opposite of it. Do you remember when the Pistons were losing? They had lost, I think it was like 28 straight. And the irony of it was, every team was actually giving them their best shot because they didn't want to be the team that they finally won against. So it'll be the opposite of that is the Thunder will be getting, they always do, but they'll be getting everybody's best crack so they can be the snap it. Right, to break it, to not allow it to happen, whatever it is. So you're going to get that too, but they're going to want to set it, and I think they can. The question becomes, how much farther out do they want to go? Do they want to set the record to the point that nobody else will break it again?
Ooh, that's good. Okay, so with that in mind, and I know we have to take a quick time out here. When we come back, let's carry over this conversation briefly, because I am curious, of those markets that you listed, Is there one that you fired on or are really contemplating ultimately making a bet on because you think the number is at least you're worthwhile if you want to dive into it, as well as looking at a few games we have tonight. Plus, we've got to reset everything Thursday night football. Bucs and Falcons going head-to-head today. A lot of potential prop betting opportunities there. Keep it locked right here on Money Moves.